Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the March 26th Finance Committee meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Member Cahill, Member Chaplin,
Here.
Member Childress,
Yes.
Member Covert,
Here.
Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans,
Here.
Member Galassi, Member Garcia,
Here.
Member Guston, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Ozog, Member Rutledge, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornator, Member Yu,
Here.
Member Zay.
Okay, great. We have a quorum. Do we have any public comment? Okay, great. So I know a couple members are going to be late because the traffic is kind of bad, but they'll be coming in. And also under Chairwoman remarks for agenda item 24-1010 on finance, GASB 87 changed the accounting standard regarding ownership criterion for the determining of capital assets in regard to leases. This change requires assets where the county has a non-cancelable right to control in excess of 1 year as to be considered capital in nature when determining ownership. As a result of this change, departments have prepared budget transfers to move funds to the newly created capital policy IT equipment capital lease line for the Toshiba copier lease cost. This change was not known at the time of the budget was prepared. There was not enough time to get these budget transfers on the committees last Tuesday. So we'll be doing that under finance. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve 240972 Finance Committee meeting minutes from Tuesday, March 12th, 2024? I have a motion by member Guston, a second by member Rutledge. Any corrections or changes to the minutes? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We move on to budget transfers. Can I have a motion on 24-1011 transfer of funds from legal services to legal services in the amount of $200,000, transferring of budget for legal service provided to Bond Dickerson and Associates to the state's attorney's office to maintain and process invoices for the 2024 election process. I had a motion by member Childress and a second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Can I have a motion on 24-1048 transfer of funds from contingencies to software and IT equipment in the amount of $990,163 for an on-actual consulting implementation cost, monthly Ceridian HCM, a subscription cost, and Dayforce Touch and Tough Clocks. I had a motion by member Yu, second by member Garcia. Any discussion on this item? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Okay, we move on to item 24-1010. I move to discharge the following standing committees: Development, Economic Development, Human Services, Judicial Public Safety, Public Works, Stormwater, Technology, and Transportation Committee. Do I have a second motion? Okay, motion by member Garcia, second by member Childress. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Now can I have a motion on 24-1010 budget transfers for various departments to move funds to the newly created capital policy IT equipment capital lease line for Toshiba PO for copier lease cost? Motion by member Garcia, second by member Childress. Okay. Any discussion on this? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. And we move on to the last budget transfer. Can I have a motion on 24-1012 budget transfers 3/26/2024 from various companies and accounting units? Motion by member Guston, second by member Yu. Any discussion? Or I'm sorry, member K. You two sound the same a little bit. Motion by member Cahill, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. We move on to procurement requisitions and finance. Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on 24-0938, decrease and close out the purchase order 6353 for ODP Business Solutions in the amount of $15,122.58.
I have a motion by member Krajewski, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Member Krajewski.
Madam Chair, I move on 24-0939, which is decrease and close out issued to Federal Express in the amount of $21,150.35.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Move on 24-0940, decrease closeout of the purchase order to Amazon Capital Services in the amount of $283,977 due to the contract expiring.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Cahill. Member Zay, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Why are we so off on this? Why was it budgeted for so much and then we're not using any of it hardly?
Valerie's coming up.
This was actually the first year we used Amazon. So we gave the departments an opportunity to choose either ODP or Amazon, whichever was cheaper. So we didn't hit it. It was our first year and we only did it for 5 months. So
Okay, thank you.
welcome.
Member Krajewski?
We only did 5 months.
Yes, that was, the contract had begun right in the middle of the year. So we
What did we do before? ODP
just
and-
ODP.
Okay, but we even decreased on that one too.
Yes.
So whoever, I mean, these departments went way over.
Well, we want to give the departments an opportunity to choose between Amazon and ODP, whichever is cheaper for them.
Well, I understand, but we were low on both of them and a crazy amount on this one.
I definitely understand, but yes.
Well, it's not your fault. I mean, it's the
No,
ones
I
that
don't.
gave it to you, but I guess I'd push back on them if they're overinflating these numbers.
That's right. That's right. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FICO 0009-24 recommendation for the approval of a change order to O'Hagan Meyer LLC. They provide continuing legal services, $14,517.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Childress. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Move on FICO 0010-24 recommendation for approval of change order amending a purchase order to O'Hagan Meyer LLC to provide continuing legal services, special counsel, in the amount of $310.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thanks. Last, Madam Chair, I move on FIP 0006-24 recommendation approval of contract purchase order to Storino, Romello, and Durkin to provide professional assistance in collective bargaining. Amount not to exceed $150,000. It's third and final option contract renewal.
Okay, so I have a motion by member Krajewski, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. We move on to animal services and member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on ASO 0001-24, which is an ordinance amending various sections, including fees for Chapter 5 of the DuPage County Code of Ordinances.
Okay, I have a motion by member Krajewski and a second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Krajewski. We move on to ETSB, member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on item ETSR 2324, resolution authorizing the execution of a transfer of governance of customer subscription to assignees terms as provided by Zendesk on behalf of the Emergency Telephone System Board of DuPage County.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on item ETSR 2224, resolution approving the sale of inventory from the County of DuPage on behalf of the Emergency Telephone System Board of DuPage County to the Wayne Police Department for an amount of $32,656.40.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Great. So thank you, member Schwarzy, but we're moving on to human services and we'll call member Schwarzy again.
Thank you. I'll move on item 240968, HSP 0054B-23, amendment to resolution HSP 0054A-23 issued to Maxim Healthcare Services to provide supplemental nursing staffing services for the DuPage Care Center for the period April 2023 through April 2024 to increase encumbrance in the amount of $28,715 for a new contract amount of $244,025, a 13.34% increase.
I have a motion by member Schwerzy, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Schwerzy. We move on to digital public safety. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For agenda items 7E1, 7E2, 7E3, and 7E4, I move to discharge Judicial Public Safety Committee.
Okay, I have a motion by member Evans, second by member Schwerzy to discharge committee on items 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, and 7-4. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member you?
Member Evans.
Oh, I'm sorry, member Evans. I'm sorry, member
Thank you.
Evans.
Okay, I would like to move on 24-1046. Transfer funds from rental of machinery and equipment to regular salaries, employer share IMRF, employer share Social Security, and employee medical and hospital insurance in the amount of $3,045 to cover the reclass of payroll from closed PY 23 adult redeploy Illinois grant to GF. All other grants incurred through June 30th, 2023 were reimbursed. Final reporting was completed and approved for expenses incurred through June 30th, 2023.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSP 001024, recommendation for the approval of funding to Bond Dixon and Associates for professional legal services to assist the county clerk with election matters as needed for the period of December 1st, 2023 through November 30th, 2024 for an amount not to exceed $200,000.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Cahill. I see member Zay seeking recognition. Go ahead, member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I'm taking member Krajewski's thunder here a little bit. I mean, it says starting December 1st, 2023. Why are we getting this contract at the end of March? We didn't foresee a 2024 election, or did their other contract expire and this is on top of that?
Lisa's coming up. Come on up, Lisa.
Good morning. Initially, this, the $200,000 that you just moved from the clerk's budget to ours was in the clerk's budget, so they would have needed to be the ones to come in on this. Now that it's in our budget, that's why we're moving today to get it paid. So, I mean, obviously it was foreseen, it was in the budget. It wasn't under our, we couldn't come in and ask for it because it wasn't in our budget, which is why now it's been moved so we could ask for it.
So did the clerk come forward with this at one point? Before December 1st?
No,
So this year, in this year's budget, we put the state's attorney's expenses in the departments and the elected officials' budgets instead of the state's attorney's budgets. So the contract was signed on time with the state's attorney, but the money was put into the clerk's office. So now, in order to pay the bills, we have to transfer the money out of the clerk's office into the state's attorney's office. Does that explain?
well,
it?
there isn't a contract, just so.
Or
clear.
it's a legal agreement.
With Bond Dixon, but it was typically, it was something that we would approve the bills, but it's still, we didn't have the money in our budget to approve them. It didn't get transferred until just a couple transactions ago.
Yeah, no, I understand the process. I'm trying to figure out why it took 4 months to do this. Since it says this started December 1st, 2023. I mean, somebody.
Was it
in the
because the
clerk's office,
invoices
state
just came
attorney's
in?
Office could go, hey, we have a legal bill here that needs to go, and why didn't we transfer money sooner?
I did request that they do the paperwork to get the bill paid. But we resolved it by having it transferred back to us, so we would be in control of that.
When did you request it?
Beginning in December, January, but
So it took the clerk's office and from December all the way to the end of March to get this paperwork done.
well, they signed the transfer.
Well, you're a good lawyer, counselor. There's really no answer. Jeff, is there just us waiting around for paperwork to be signed and transferred over?
Yeah, I mean, what we try to do during the 2024 budget
is allocate out. We used to hold a lot of these legal expenses, and one of the accounting units is known as 1180. We try to allocate out these expenses, and as part of the 24 budget, we put that money, the $200,000 into the clerk's budget, because we thought it would make sense. But in retrospect, the bills were going over to the state's attorney for review. So it just didn't work. So we decided that we're going to transfer it back to the state's attorney. They'll review it. They have contact with Bond Dixon. Going forward in 25, Bond Dixon will be budgeted on the state's attorney.
And aren't the bills, the invoices are invoiced to the state's attorney's office?
They are.
Yeah, so they're not billed to the clerk's office, they're billed to the state's attorney's office, so.
So how have they been getting paid?
They have not been paid.
But
They have not been paid since the December bill.
Well, God bless Bond and Dixon, because I don't know, I have 4 months without getting paid, I'd be a little upset, but thank you.
thank you, Member Zay. Member Krajewski?
So is the state's attorney, is he working for the state's attorney, or is this the election attorney work that they're doing?
He's a special assistant state's attorney. He's appointed as such to handle only election matters for the clerk.
Okay. No, I mean, I go back to, just, I don't even know how, I mean, he works for the state's attorney, right? He
Mhm.
works for us.
He's a special assistant, yes.
Yeah, and then, I think we talked before, we got a letter when they represented West Chicago when we were doing a rezoning, and I'm not sure how that's a conflict when you're on both sides. He's representing West Chicago, sending us a threatening letter when we're looking at rezoning some property. We get a letter from Bond Dixon, but yet he's working for us as a special state's attorney. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that letter came from Mary Dixon, but Pat Bond's been.
Well, it's their firm. I don't care which attorney sent it. Don't law firms usually look at their client list and they see, and then they look and they
Well,
can't represent both. You're
He's
not your
working
head.
for the election division, not
But
the
he work-
county
But
board,
he works for the
but he
county,
works out of that's,
state's attorney's
but
office.
Bob Berlin, my understanding, it's Bob Berlin's decision or choice who he picks for that
Correct.
special
I didn't
state's
say
attorney. It's not the
issue
county
with
board.
Cumberland picking them. I'm just not sure how an attorney doesn't have a conflict when they're representing us and they're representing the other side.
But they're representing, they're not representing the county board, they're representing the election division.
They're representing DuPage County.
Okay, any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Member Guston, go ahead, please.
And I guess that brings up a question for me. So they're working for the clerk's office to do work for the clerk's office. So I'm just trying to get a handle on who the work is being done for. But yet you're facilitating the legal outside counsel for them to be able to do the work for the clerk's office, correct?
So what happens is when typically, if there's a certain expertise that we don't have within the
Right,
office, then we can appoint Bob can appoint a special assistant.
right.
And that's what he's done in the case of Bond Dixon. So their work is done at Bob's direction on behalf of the clerk. So it would be it's the state's attorney's role to represent all the elected officials. It's solely his responsibility. So what he's done, he's appointed private counsel, in this case, Bond Dixon, to handle that matter for the clerk's office. So he's dealing with just the clerk's office. Anything else that's contractual or other comes to us, but anything with regard specifically to elections, he handles due to his expertise in that
So
area.
let's say Public Works needs an attorney, then you would have a special assistant kind of.
If it was something
Whatever
that,
department in the county needs a special assistant, it would go through your office and then that person would represent that department.
correct, if that would only occur,
Elected official or non-elected official, or it has to be an elected official? that they
no,
would
elected
represent?
official or the county departments.
Okay,
Anytime that,
all
if
right.
there was something that we couldn't handle in-house, and the majority of which we do handle in-house.
Okay.
Yeah, we all have, like in our committee meetings, we all have our state's attorney or assistant state's attorney sitting with us, making sure that we're following all the rules and things like that. So,
I'm just trying to figure out from a financial perspective, if you have one department that has a lot of independent counsel requirements, or if when does it become a department issue versus a state's attorney, and maybe there is no way
Well, I
to
think
make
we're-
those two separate.
We're fortunate. We do have a good sized civil division that can
Mhm.
handle really majority of these things.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
it's just that the
Okay.
election law is very specific and you have to have attorneys that have that
Experience.
experience and
Yeah.
qualifications for that, so they hire out. And also I think the state's attorney, they also put in the scope of work for
Oh, it's
bond.
limited.
It's
yes.
limited, right? So it's very limited. So Pat Bond can only perform the duties that are outlined by the states, by Bob Berlin.
And if that's the case, if it's the election, that we see a lot of this, maybe they should have a budget for legal. I don't, and then it would
Well,
come out
there-
of their
no,
budget.
There always
versus
was
the
a
state
budget.
Attorney's budget.
There always was a budget for legal. This year, as Jeff said, it was decided that it should be come out of the department or official needing the services. So, but obviously that didn't work. So that's why we've transferred it back. The bills come to us. We review the bills before they are submitted for payment.
So it really is a state's attorney expense because there is no state's attorney in-house that can represent the clerk. So it really is not a clerk expense. It really is a state's attorney expense, just like it's not a circuit clerk. If the circuit clerk has a special state's attorney, it's not really the circuit clerk's expense. It really comes from the state's attorneys, but because they're the ones that have to provide that to all of the electeds and the county board. So that kind of makes sense.
Yep, oh, totally.
Okay.
I just, if you have a department that has a higher legal requirement, there's gotta be some way to just record that, so you know which departments need more legal assistance than others.
Well, I think
It is accounted.
it is.
Yeah.
And I think even on the agenda, we have it, the clerk's office. So we know even if it's in the state's attorney's office, I remember in prior years doing these budget transfers or doing the contract and people say it's the
all
clerk.
accounted for. I mean,
It's right. It's all there.
or I should, it's all accounted.
It all comes out of the general.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Member Guston. Member Ozog?
Another quick question for Lisa is, what would you say historically have we been spending this 200,000? And my understanding too, this is mainly Pat Bond's area of expertise.
Correct.
So he would operate kind of in a silo within his
I
firm.
would say in
so-
an election year, which obviously
Okay.
we have, 200,000 is probably, some of, that's been a good amount for spending. And just to let you know, the last cycle, there were several lawsuits. So,
Yeah.
it may not be as much this year, but I know we had several lawsuits the last election cycle, and obviously that took up a lot of time. And
Renounce
therefore
lawsuits,
legal
et
fees.
cetera. Okay. All right, thank you.
Great. Thank you. Member Krajewski?
Yeah, I'm still having trouble following this. So December 1st, and we just had an election, so I'm sure he did a number of duties and provided services. So, and I'm sure the firm probably bills monthly. So when these bills came in, the first one comes in January, did we do? How'd the bill come in and,
When the-
and where did it go for a couple of months?
Actually, before January, when the bill came in December, I submitted an email reminding the clerk that they needed to come in to get it paid because it was no longer within our budget to do so.
Okay, and then the clerk did what? Didn't respond to your email, got back to you?
I didn't hear from them.
You didn't hear from the clerk. You
No.
sent an email. Who did you send it to?
I believe it was to Adam and Jean.
So you sent an email to Adam and Jean and they did not respond back to you.
Correct.
Okay, and then what happened? That's early January, then.
That was December, January.
That
and
was
February.
December,
December, January, and February.
You
and
sent
I-
multiple ones to them
Yes,
and they didn't respond back to any of them.
yes.
I don't know why it's so difficult to tell us what happened.
It's not. I mean, we're just basically,
You sent an emails to the clerk in December, they ignored you. You sent them in January, they ignored you. You sent them in February, they ignored you.
and
Now
then we ended up
in-
having, then there was a meeting, and then that's when the decision was made to transfer.
Well, that would have been nice to tell members A when they asked the question. I don't understand
Oh,
why, I mean, we're
I
trying
think
to
there was-
understand,
I think there was some,
ignoring an email, there's nothing to the.
I think there was some, I don't know, I don't know if it was confusion. I don't know if it was what was going on, but I think there was some questions whether they should transfer that out because the bills were payable to Bond Dickerson and not the clerk. So there were some, I think, questions regarding that type of thing. So, but it's all straightened out. And
Well, I understand, we got it straightened out again, but we seem to be having these problems where we're doing things and then eventually we get them all straightened
What-
out, but a lot of people go through a lot of time and energy and. I mean, if you respond back to the email, we could have got this on the budget and what we're doing now, we could have done it in December, or January. But the clerk ignored, she just said the email in December, the email in January, the email in February. And
Did, and what were the total of the bills were not the whole 200,000, is that correct? Or
No,
was it?
no.
No, they were, it wasn't the whole 200,000, so it wasn't,
I think it's,
for the year, but.
right, this is for the
it's
year,
their
right?
First bill, they sent us a bill in December, then
Right.
they billed us again when they did the next month's work and they're billing us again. And she's sending emails to the clerk, Adam and G, and they're ignoring it. They're not responding. And poor guy's not getting paid.
Yeah, we do have we have a motion in a second. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I get a motion to approve, or I would move to approve JPSP 11-24 recommendation for the approval of a contract issued to Conference Technologies, Inc., CTI, for the purchase, installation, and programming of equipment for 3 courtrooms at the Henry Hyde Judicial Office Facility for the period of March 27th, 2024 through June 30th, 2024 for a total contract amount not to exceed $135,690.65.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Guston. Okay, member Zay seeking recognition. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my only question is, why is this sole source procurement? I mean, I'm looking at TVs and installation. Is this mandated by the state? Do you have to use a certain vendor because it's grant funded?
I'm going to defer to Suzanne Armstrong and Kathy Thompson, but I will give just a little background in regards to 3 and 4. They received notice from the state on Thursday about this grant awarding. That's why this was discharged. I believe that might be the case, but I will defer to those 2 individuals.
Are they on?
If not, I'll get you an answer in between meetings.
Yes, I just.
I'm online. I can answer. This is Suzanne Armstrong. CTI is the sole source because they did the project for all the other courtrooms. So it was the exact same software setup and hardware. So that's the reason for that.
Okay, so it's not mandated by the state. We use a certain vendor or anything like that?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
member Zay. Member Guston.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is connected with this, though. When you have your Zoom court calls, is this technology going to benefit that audio that you hear on Zoom court calls, or is this something only within the courtroom?
This is in the courtroom. So these are for the 3 traffic courtrooms. We are not doing traffic court by Zoom right now. This will actually allow us to be able to use that if it ever is made, that decision is made in the future. But it actually will be very beneficial when we have to bring in an interpreter. So we bring them in through a video interpreting and we are able to use this. And the sound system will help with that.
Okay, so these are more on-site technologies versus over the internet. Is anybody looking into the Zoom compatibility or the quality of the Zoom court hearings? Do you know?
I haven't heard any complaints, so
Me. But we can probably talk offline on that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans.
Thank you, thank you, Madam Chair. Can I get, I would like to move on JPSP 12-24 recommendation for the approval of a contract issued to Judicial Systems, Inc. for the purchase, installation, and programming of the juror administration software system for the period March 26th, 2024 through June 30th, 2029, and annual software maintenance for fiscal years 2025 through 2028 for a total contract amount not to exceed $329,670. $607.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSP 9-24 recommendation for the approval of a purchase order to Logic Hallis, Inc. for IBM Passport Advantage software licensing and support for the period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025 for a total contract amount of $100,014.64.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSR 5-24, Preferred Health System Agreement between DuPage County and Northwestern Memorial Healthcare for inmate medical services covering the period of August 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2027.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSR 7-24, Intergovernmental Agreement with Bloomingdale Township for Police Services for a total amount of $137,656.81 for the period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSR 8-24, Intergovernmental Agreement with Milton Township for Police Services for a total amount of $412,970.44 for the period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Zay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on JPSR 9-24, Intergovernmental Agreement with Wayne Township for Police Services for a total amount of $137,656.81 for the period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Zay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member
Thank you.
Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And finally, I'd like to move on JPSR 10-24, Intergovernmental Agreement with York Township for Police Services for a total amount of $137,656.81 for the period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, member Evans. We move on to Public Works and member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair. I motion today, I make the motion to approve FMP 001324 recommendation for the approval of a contract to Hammer Construction LLC to complete the repair, maintenance, and capital improvements for the 479 and 509 parking garages or parking structures on county campus for facilities management for the period of March 26, 2024 through November 30th, 2025 for a total contract amount not to exceed $2,590,456.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Ozog. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Member Garcia?
I make a motion to approve FMP 001424 recommendation for the approval of a contract to Cooks Direct Inc. to furnish and deliver 2 replacement commercial grown 40-gallon braising pan tilt skillets for the jail kitchen for facilities management for the period of March 27, 2024 through March 26, 2025 for a contract total amount not to exceed $56,001.80.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member Garcia?
I make the motion to approve PWCO 000324 amendment to County Contract 6613-0001 serve issued to Arlington Glass and Mirror Company for the replacement of a broken or damaged glass at Public Works facilities for a change order to increase the contract in the amount of $20,000, taking the original contract amount of $70,000 and resulting in amended contract amount not to exceed $90,000, an increase of 28.57%.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Garcia?
Make the motion to approve PWP 000824 recommendation for the approval of a contract to AT&T to provide analog business lines and analog circuits for Public Works facilities for the period of March 16, 2024 to February 16, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $47,600.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Covert. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Garcia?
And I make the motion to approve PWR 000324 Rosewood Water Tower Lease Agreement with T-Mobile.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu, and member Childress. Go ahead, please. Oh, your mic, Michael.
I'd like an explanation on this. It's pretty vague.
Who can speak to this item, the water tower lease agreement?
I can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So Mr. Childress, this is on all of our towers out there. we have several leases with different cell tower companies. So this is actually revenue coming into us and it benefits our users. So we have a passive use of the towers and we try to maximize our income from these.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Member Childress. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Member Garcia. We move on to transportation. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval of 240892, amendment to resolution DTP 005223 issued to Auto Tech Centers to furnish and deliver Goodyear tires as needed for the Division of Transportation to increase the encumbrance in the amount of $35,000 and extend the current contract through June 30th, 2024, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $185,000.
Motion by Member Ozog, second by Member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of 240907, amendment to resolution DTP 0211C19 issued to Civil Tech Engineering to provide professional preliminary engineering services for improvements to County Highway 2, Belmont and Finley Road at Ogden Avenue, and County Highway 2, Cross Street at Ogden Avenue, to increase the funding in the amount of $146,057.22, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $462,353.26.
Motion by Member Ozog, second by Member Garcia. Any discussion? I am looking very forward to this project. Yes, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Ozog.
Glad we can accommodate you, Madam Chair. I move to combine items 3 through 7, which are all contract approvals.
Okay, I have a motion by Member Ozog and a second by Member Cahill to combine items through 7.
3 through 7.
3 through 7. All in favor? Okay, opposed?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I move for approval of DTP 001924, recommendation with the approval of a contract purchase order to Peterbilt, Illinois, doing business as JX Truck Center Elmhurst to furnish and deliver Cummins engine repair and replacement parts as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $60,000 per lowest responsible bid. I move for approval of DTP 002024, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Superior Asphalt Materials to furnish and deliver bituminous paving materials and UPM bituminous cold patch as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $65,000 per lowest responsible bid. I move for approval of DTP 002124, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Terra Engineering for traffic study engineering services for the DuPage County Trail System for a contract total amount not to exceed $74,192.36 for the period March 26, 2024 through November 30th, 2024, professional services vetted through a qualification-based selection process. Move for approval of DTP 002324, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Mohawk Lifts LLC to furnish and deliver 7 vertical rise vehicle lifts for the Division of Transportation for the period of March 26, 2024 through April 13th, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $1,961,023.12, contract pursuant to the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act. Move for approval of DTP 002224, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Energicity Corporation doing business as Rackham Up Equipment Distributors. That's easier. To install 7 vertical rise vehicle lifts for the Division of Transportation for a contract total not to exceed $769,491.10 for the period March 26, 2024 through November 30th, 2025, not suitable for competitive bids, sole source, factory trained and authorized installer.
A motion by Member Ozog, second by Member Garcia. Any discussion on any of these items? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Ozog.
Okay, I now move for approval of DTR 001324, awarding resolution issued to Menable Construction Company Incorporated for the DuPage County Fairgrounds parking lot improvements for an estimated county cost of $527,344.90 per lowest responsible bid.
Motion by Member Ozog, second by Member Guston. Any discussion? Member Rutledge?
Thank you, Chair. Was this grant funded? I don't
I thought there
It-
was.
Oh, is this
Okay,
from the,
Tim's giving
clerk-
me
yeah,
the
from
thumbs
the
up up there. Here
clerk's
comes
office?
Bill Edson.
Oh, come on up, Bill.
Bill, I didn't see you out there, but I was hoping you were there.
on up,
You
Bill.
said you would be.
Yeah, yeah, this
It
is a grant funded project from the Board of Elections through the clerk's office.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, any further discussion? We thank our clerk for getting those funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Member Ozog?
Okay, I move for approval of DTR 001424 awarding resolution issued to Superior Road Striping for the 2024 pavement marking maintenance program for an estimated county cost of $470,795.68 per lowest responsible bid.
Motion by member Ozog, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries.
My long report means spring is coming.
Yes, it
Thank
does. Thank you, member Ozog. So we move on to finance resolutions and I'll call on member Krajewski.
On FIR 0057-24, additional appropriation for the county infrastructure fund, $7,829,600.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? Member Dessert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I was looking at this and wondering if it was just transferring money to from one fund to another, because we already approved this, but then I saw the, in the packet, it said inadequate funds were requested in the FY 24 budget. So I'm wondering how this could happen since that budget was just approved in November. So how the funds have gone up so much since our approval of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, member Dessert. Jeff, go ahead, please.
So these three projects are the HVAC system, sidewalks, and parking deck, some rehabilitation there. That was part of the 23 surplus and the 24 surplus. So the money is in the infrastructure fund. Typically what we do is we will appropriate, the surplus and transfer it, and then do the budget appropriation. That didn't happen at that time, so now we're requesting that.
Thank you. And that's what I thought originally when I saw this item. I thought it was budget appropriation. Then why does the packet say inadequate funds were requested? What does that part mean?
They weren't specifically budgeted for in the 24 budget. While the funding was there and we knew we were going to do the projects,
Yeah,
it just didn't occur.
because I remember approving the HVAC, the parking lots, and the sidewalk. So that money, those funds were already approved. So how come I'm not understanding,
It
Jeff,
was an
why they were
oversight.
inadequate.
It was an oversight. At the time when we did the surplus transfers, we also should have did the budget appropriation for actually the 23, the sidewalks and the parking deck rehab, because it was carryover.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, member Dessert. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0058-24, recommendation approval of employee compensation and job classification adjustment for the DuPage Care Center.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0060-24, authorization to execute a user agreement with the Illinois Housing Development Authority to prevent duplication of financial assistance under the Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 0061-24, approval of agreements with various agencies to administer the DuPage County Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Covert. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Member Krajewski?
Chair, last I move on FIR 0062-24, approval of agreements with various not-for-profit agencies to administer housing stability services for the DuPage County Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
Motion by member Krajewski, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, motion carries. We move on to informational. Member Krajewski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to receive and place on file informational items: A, payment of claims; B, wire transfers; C, appointments; and D, grant proposal notification.
Have a motion by member Krajewski and a second by member Zay to receive and place on file items A, B, C, and D under informational. All in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you, Member Krajewski. Any old business from anybody? I have a little bit of old business. So as you know, some of you may know, some of you may not know, but a year or so ago, we did give some funding to Poise for Success. So, and they're a organization that provides clothing to women for job interviews. So I wanted to share, Gail from Poise for Success sent over an email from one of the clients that they just recently served. So I thought you'd all like to hear it because it shows the good work that we're doing in the community, that they're doing, and that we're helping provide. So thank you for the unforgettable experience this evening. I felt like this was a dream and I was Cinderella. But after I returned home and held and showed all my new clothes to my kids, I realized it was not a dream. It was real. I appreciate your guidance in accommodating me, and I mostly enjoyed that feeling, the confidence and the power after I saw myself in these beautiful outfits. I felt superpowered and motivated to reach for the stars. Nothing seems hard anymore. I'm very thankful for this great opportunity, and I feel lucky and blessed that you have invited me. I wish such experiences touched others in need as well and do the magic for them. I'll never forget this wonderful, fun shopping experience where I picked anything I liked and I received it just like that. You allowed me to take much more than I was supposed to. Thank you for being incredibly generous. Please keep me posted on ways I can pay it forward and return back to the community. Thank you for everything and helping me gain back my self-esteem. So there we go. So do we have any other, yes. Do we have any other new business? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by member